am kind of a nerd and I like to keep up on the latest research. And a study came out this year about frozen shoulder. And basically, while it wasn't completely new information, it confirmed a lot of things that some of us that do try to stay up on the research have been thinking about in the medical community when it comes to something called frozen shoulder. So if you're not aware, frozen shoulder is when the capsule around your shoulder starts to tighten up. They don't actually know why. What will happen is over several weeks or months, it'll continue to tighten up. It becomes extraordinarily difficult to move, usually in this direction, and it's almost impossible to go behind your back. So if you're someone who has experienced that, you definitely know what I'm talking about. You know what frozen shoulder is. And it's painful too. But for many years, I should say, doctors and even physical therapists have approached it as a purely musculoskeletal condition, meaning they've been cranking on it, doing all the things to try to ease the pain, but like really trying to force the motion. Cortisone shots, all the above, and like in really severe cases, they put people under anesthesia and forcefully manipulate your shoulder. And if you're someone who's gone through any of that, you probably know better than I do that sometimes it doesn't work. In fact, a lot of the times it doesn't work. And one of the reasons for that is because frozen shoulder, they've realized, is actually more of a metabolic and almost like an autoimmune type condition. If you read the article that I wrote about this topic, I actually cite the study, so you can click on that and actually get more of the specifics. But one of the reasons why it affects people kind of in between the ages of 40 and 60, and it does impact women more than men, it's because of some of these metabolic hormonal changes that happens a lot in women. You'll notice that women with kind of those metabolic type conditions, diabetes, things like that, tend to get affected by frozen shoulder more often. And that was one of the things that kind of caused researchers to sort of look into a little bit more. So all that to say, one of the things that you can do when you have frozen shoulder is you want to support your body's natural mechanisms to heal. That's one of the best things you can do. Obviously, prevention is going to be your best friend, but if you get frozen shoulder, you also need to do something about that. So forcefully manipulating it or really aggressively stretching it isn't going to help. It's painful and actually then causes other sets of problems like micro trauma, and it increases the inflammation process because you're adding injury to this shoulder that doesn't want to move. Taking good care of yourself, getting good sleep, eating well. Of course, you can do all those things, but something that we do in our office to help people with this condition is something called regenerative therapy. It's a combination of regenerative shockwave therapy and then EMTT, which is high frequency magnetic therapy. And those two therapies together help to bring blood flow and essentially bring nutrition to your tissue that's lacking, the tissue in your shoulder that's really tight. It's lacking all of that because of your biology, basically. So these technologies help to bring healing to the area to help ease your symptoms and actually start to kind of accelerate that process of the shoulder literally unthawing. Now, when that happens, you're going to have a much better response to the range of motion, the mobility exercises, and then eventually strengthening that you do need to do for frozen shoulder. But if you do it too soon or too fast, you actually can impede the healing and the recovery of a frozen shoulder. So if you're confused by what I'm saying, I don't blame you. Click on the article that I wrote and read it. And please share this with friends and family that might be suffering from something like this. I think it'll make more sense when you read it. And of course, reach out. You can message us, you can put, comment, and I'd be happy to, answer questions for you. If you're local to us here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and you're actually dealing with this condition, come see us at our office, CJ Physical Therapy and Pilates in downtown Portsmouth. We'd love to help you. We've helped a lot of people with frozen shoulder, especially using our regenerative therapy. So that's all I got. Dr. Carey here, signing off. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.